hit the live button. You can go and push it. All right, everyone, a good early afternoon to you. I'm forecaster Nick Dunn with an update on some severe weather beginning to approach the Indiana-Ohio border early this afternoon. We do have an area of severe thunderstorm warnings, as you can see here, kind of up and down the I-69 corridor, stretching from about Fort Wayne down to Marion. And this is kind of moving off here towards the east-northeast, if you will. Not moving overly slow by any stretch of the words, but we are going to continue to monitor this for the potential of seeing some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And we could also have a brief tornado, because if you take a look up here in the upper left, it is tagged as tornado possible. So don't be surprised if a tornado warning were to be issued, or if a brief tornado does come about with this. So I do want to give everybody just a couple of moments here to join in, and we'll kind of get this coverage started here for you in just a couple of moments. But again, we are watching a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Allen County, Indiana, Whitley County, Huntington, Grant, Blackford, Jay, Wells, and Adams. And again, this is kind of making a beeline towards the Ohio border. And so we'll make sure that everybody can hear and see us okay. And then we'll kind of get things started. I'll try to monitor comments the best I can. We've also did a push notification on our mobile app for those that are going to be potentially impacted by this here relatively soon. Tyler or Zach, if you guys are watching, auto posting on Ohio News Weather for the alerts to the Facebook side is not working. It is not up, so if somebody could take a look at that, I would appreciate it. So I was going to get things started off here this morning, or I should say this afternoon now. It is 1:03. Severe thunderstorm goes until 1:45, and now they do have this moving at 80 miles per hour. I do think that is a little bit on the fast side of things, but this is a very nice, well-defined squall line, if you will. Again, from right on the northern side of Fort Wayne down into southeastern Huntington County. And there are a couple of kinks in the line, so we're going to take a look at that in just a moment. But this is a very nice, well-defined line. Now, as you look out ahead of this into northwest Ohio, as you can kind of see here, we do have some other showers kind of out in advance. So we'll continue to monitor that very quickly. And John actually just messaged us and said that the line is moving very, very quick. He is sitting right about here in Warren, Indiana. And again, it's moving very, very quick. So even at 80 miles an hour, that is not a speed that we typically see. So let's go ahead and we will try to update the track on this the best we can. And again, let's see what we can do to try to track this. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be, we're gonna take it a little bit slower than that. I think 80 is a little fast, but based on the current timing, this is kind of who's going to be getting it when. So again, we're looking at New Haven at about 108. We're looking at Muncie at about 108. We are looking at Salina at about 138, Lima 152, Bowling Green at 2 o'clock. So if this continues on this current trajectory, assuming that it holds together, it could hit I-75 here within the next hour. So we are going to want to watch that very closely. So Defiant, you're down the line, Van Wert, Salina, Wapakoneta, Lima. You guys are on the path of this. This will stay north of Dayton for the time being, but eventually Dayton could be in the path of this as we get a little bit further in towards like mid-afternoon. So this is our line. Again, damaging winds going to be the primary concern. Let's go ahead and flip over to velocity here so we can kind of take a little bit of a deeper dive into that so we can kind of see what's going on. And I will say that right now there's nothing along the line that screams tornado to me, but there's a couple spots here that we are watching. Okay, just east of Warren, you can start to see a little bit of a tightening trying to get going here. That's crossing into western Wells County. Okay, so here's Indiana Route 1 that goes from Ossian down to Bluffton. It eventually takes you down towards Montpelier. Okay, this is Indiana Route 120. Actually, I don't know that off the top of my head. I'm thinking of the wrong spot there, but this takes you to Penedo and then over here to Warren. Okay, over here's I-69, takes you down from Markle to Van Buren down to Gas City. So we'll continue to watch this area very closely. But again, if there's going to be any kind of spin up, it's going to be right here near Warren. You can see that's the best looking circulation along the line. As we work up into the Fort Wayne area per se, okay, we have a tornado warning now. That does not surprise me. And this is going to be now a tornado warning for Wells and Huntington County. So it's for this exact spin up, just as we were talking about just a few minutes ago. So now we have an active tornado warning in effect for the city of Bluffton. And this is going to be something that we're going to need to continue to keep a very close eye on. So if you're just now tuning in, I'm forecasting Nick Dunn. We have our first tornado warning of the afternoon. This is going to be for the Bluffton area. Tornado warning in effect, southeastern Huntington County. This is going to be for a radar indicated circulation that is just to the east of Warren, kind of moving off east-northeast at 50 miles per hour. There's the latest scan, still remaining somewhat tight here. Okay, so if we are in Pinedo and we are in over here to Veracruz and Bluffton, we've got to be in our safe places right now. That means we need to get below ground into a basement, a small interior room such as a bathroom, a hallway, or a closet. And we do need to just kind of make sure that we are ready to go. And it looks like John Tinney is also trying to call me here, so let me get him added in here as well. And John, good afternoon to you. This is pretty much right over you. What are you seeing at the moment?
Yeah, it was quite interesting as it passed my location, and I figured it probably wasn't long before they issued a tornado warning. So, but I can't confirm anything at this point. There was certainly no damage at my location, but I'm going to post video here in a little bit of just exactly what I went through with this.
Yeah.
You need to be in a safe place, though. I will tell you that right now. If you are in the Bluffton area.
Yeah, if you're anywhere near Bluffton, so again, we go back to that safe place procedure, right? So we put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you're in a mobile home, you need to find a more substantial shelter. And now this latest scan, I am definitely growing some concern about an increasing development of perhaps a tornado just to the southwest of Bluffton. Okay, and we'll get our road naming tool out here so we can kind of let you know exactly where we're talking. Okay, so this right here is State Road 124, comes right into Bluffton. There's State Road 218. We have another new tornado warning now for Blackford and Wells County down to the south. Okay, so second new tornado warning now in effect for Blackford and Wells County for a new circulation that is developing now along the squall line in between Hartford City and Montpelier. So tornado warning number 1 sits right here, coming right into Montpelier. Tornado warning number 2 is in effect for the city of Bluffton. So if you know anybody up in these areas, again, let's just remember to go over this tornado procedure one more time. Safe place, below ground if you can. If you can't, get into a basement, a small interior room, bathroom, hallway, closet, with as many walls between you and the outside as possible and no windows. Make sure you're taking a bicycle helmet or something of that nature to your shelter. I know children at school, we're kind of getting into that early afternoon time frame. So just kind of be sure, obviously schools rehearse these things, they go over different drills, so obviously kids are in their safe place, but obviously we do have some schools in the path of this as well, right? So moving off to the northeast at about 50 miles per hour, Bluffton, you've got maybe 5 minutes before this gets on top of you, maybe 6 or 7 max.
Nick, I'm telling you, it goes through in a hurry.
Yeah, and the line as a whole, they have moving at 80. I think that is a little bit on the fast side of things, so to speak. But again, right now, so coming into Bluffton and then down to the south here, the second circulation is a little bit newer, okay, and it has been kind of trying to develop, just like what we see here in Wells County. So this is crossing north of Hartford City and moving into southern Wells County, kind of south of Pinedo. Pinedo, you are in at least one of the polygons, so I would just be in my safe place regardless, no matter what at this particular point in time. So let's just kind of keep that in mind. So let's go over to velocity here real quick and kind of give you an updated look at that. Okay, so we have 2 circulations very clear on radar. Number 1 here in southwestern Wells County, that one appears to be tightening up just a little bit. Latest scan now really has tightened up a little bit more now. Okay, so that's going to be heading up into Bluffton. There's State Road 124 is right at the top of your screen. This is Indiana Highway 1 that takes you down from Bluffton to Pennville, crossing east of Montpelier. Okay, and then the second circulation is also starting to ramp up. Let's go check debris tracker real quick on correlation. And thankfully, to this point, we do not see anything down. But, John, these storms kind of seem low tops, so radar may struggle today to pick up any kind of debris signature.
Yeah, they very well could, Nick. So the best thing you can do is if you are in the tornado warning, get to a safe place immediately. A couple of mobile home parks in Bluffton. I don't think you have time to leave right now. So get to the center part of your house. Get into a bathroom, a closet. Grab some blankets, put it on top of your head, protect your head and neck. That way, just in case the worst happens, you've done the best you can do.
Exactly. Here's an updated quick storm track for you. So Bluffton 113. We're talking 2 minutes now for Bluffton at this
Yeah,
point in
I
time.
don't think anybody would have time to leave.
Yeah, at this point we're kind of getting to that time frame with as quick as it's moving now. That's just kind of where we're at. So hunker down, do the best you can. Decatur 125, Burn 125, Van Wert 143, Delphos 156, and moving into Columbus Grove by 211. So again, by the time we get to 2 o'clock, those of you in Northwest Ohio towards I-75, got to be ready to go because that line's going to be approaching you. Jay County down here into Portland, we're underneath a severe thunderstorm warning here as well. And that may, again, next in line, then moving into the northern portions of the Miami Valley and Northwest Ohio. So just be aware of that. Moving up the line just a smidge here towards the Fort Wayne area. Okay, I know obviously we have a lot of folks up here that were hit pretty hard last week. Now looking at velocity up here, I don't see anything that they're going to issue a tornado warning for based on this. At this particular point in time, likely some strong straight line winds. Maybe a little spot trying to pop up here south of New Haven. We'll watch that. But the better signatures so far are down here in Wells County and Blackford County. We have two very distinct circulations. Remember, the reds and greens, right? So you see where they are clearly together right there, just coming right into Bluffton now. You've got maybe another minute before this gets in over top of you. And then down to Montpelier. This is crossing from northern Blackford into south central Wells County. So keep in mind, once this passes, it's a one shot and done. As John alluded to earlier this morning, we get this line through, your severe weather threat is done. But we've got to get through this first, okay? And let's remember, right now this is radar indicated rotation. We do not have any confirmation of a tornado on the ground. We do have two active tornado warnings. The one for southeastern Huntington and central Wells is until 1:30. South central Wells and northern Blackford is until 1:30, both moving to the northeast at about 50 miles per hour. Let's go back to reflectivity. Again, a couple things that I'm seeing here. Rear inflow notches on both storms. Okay, so north to the Hartford City, there's one here. Okay, in the back to the north, there's actually two. There's one on the leading edge, right coming into Bluffton, and then also on the back side, coming in like this. Okay, so we just want to watch these very, very closely over the next several minutes. We could see a tornado drop at any time, and they may be brief. These may be the ones that are down for just a couple minutes, and they're back up, and that's it. I don't foresee this as a long track type tornado, John, unless you disagree with me on that. These look to be kind of more of your brief. They're down real quick, as you kind of said, one shot and out.
You know, I will tell you this: when it came over my house, I could clearly make out rotation, Nick. So it had started its process, and I'm in southern Huntington County, so they issued the warning right after it passed over me.
Yeah, and I thought based on what I was looking at that it wasn't going to be long, and that's why we kind of hopped on here anyway, just with the severe thunderstorm warning being as large as it is. And as we kind of talked about a little bit earlier this morning, even early this afternoon as well, we've been kind of talking about it through the day, the better chances were for tornadoes to be along a line and not so much in supercellular type format. Now, looking ahead into northwest Ohio and the northern Miami Valley, I do see a little bit of an encouraging sign. There's a lot of rain here along the I-75 corridor. We'll see if that overworks the environment enough or not before the squall line comes in. But either way, this is why we have a tornado watch in effect for the first two rows of counties in northwest Ohio in the Miami Valley until 4 o'clock for Lyman, Defiance, and until 5 o'clock for Salina and Wapak and points down to the south.
I want to address something, too. For you folks watching in Gas City, severe threat is over. The severe weather threat is past Grant County, so no severe threat for you for the rest of the day.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Obviously, if you're west of
sorry.
yeah, no, you're good. If you're west of 69, essentially, we kind of zoom it back out for you. Okay, if you are west of I-69, you're done. If you are east of I-69, you are not. That's kind of the easiest cutoff point we can kind of give you at this point in time. So, getting you back up to date here. If you have a warrant address, the tornado, the storm that prompted the warning has cleared, so we can give you an all clear for you. Down into Hartford City. So again, keep in mind too today as well, right, with these tornado warnings and whatnot, sirens are sometimes county based. So this is why we always tell you, refer to the polygon. If you're in the polygon, we respect it. They do. Then that's another thing to kind of point out. So Ossian, if the sirens are going off, you're not in a tornado warning, but you are in a severe thunderstorm warning that is tagged tornado possible. So I understand the confusion, but please do not rely on hearing a siren today to take shelter. Biggest thing. Okay, we have the Bell Park Weather Network app you can download. It's free right now in your Apple and Google Play stores. You can watch us live there in case you lose power on your computer, You could watch us on your tablet or anything of that nature as well. So just some other things to kind of keep in mind. But it looks like they've now taken Huntington County out of the tornado warning officially. They've trimmed that polygon back. And
looks
also,
like southern circulation may be the strongest now, Nick.
yeah, let's take an updated look.
Down State Road 3.
Yep.
West State Road 18 there, State Road 18 that runs ultimately over to across State Road 1 over to Bryant and out towards US 27 over there. Circulation right over the Montpelier area now.
Yeah, so and really both of these have kind of broadened out just a touch, but again, it's enough,
and that's
right?
what we expect. They're not going to last very long, especially with a storm system that's becoming increasingly outflow dominant at this point. Yeah,
that is one thing too to kind of point out, and this is why we think that damaging wind is still the primary threat, obviously. But just kind of.
I had a report that the Hartford City Police Department said there was a tornado spotted just in the northern part of Blyford County. Not sure how they would know that, but we'll try to confirm that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good to know. So there's still a little bit of a rear inflow notch just to the north of Hartford City. Okay, right, coming pretty much into Montpelier as it stands right now. So sometimes these inflow notches, they can come in on the backside of your thunderstorm, and that's where your spin up can happen right there. The one back up to the north here towards Bluffton has increasingly fallen apart a little bit, but there's still just a little bit of a kink on the north side of town. I still want you in your safe place. Still want you in that tornado action plane right now if you're in Veracruz, Bluffton, Pinedo, down to Montpelier. Still got to be there until these warnings are allowed to expire. I do think that the warnings.
Coming over, I can tell you exactly where it's at, Nick. It's literally right over the mobile home park there, Bluffton Woods, that area, and then it'll head out towards Monroe, maybe just north of Monroe here, over the next couple of minutes. So if you're watching in Monroe, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. I don't know that I see enough that they would extend the tornado warning or issue a new tornado warning. But do keep an eye on that. It looks like that circulation, what's left of it, would travel right between Monroe and Decatur, probably close to US 33, that runs back down to Wilshire.
Yeah, and the other thing here to kind of keep in mind too, as we continue to move on through the rest of the afternoon, is you got to have multiple ways to receive warnings. And again, this northern circulation right now, new tornado warning now for Adams County, Decatur and Monroe. You guys are now under a tornado warning.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a new tornado warning now that is radar indicated until 1:45. So we need to be getting into our safe place now. So we're talking about downtown Decatur, down to Monroe. That's just going to be just to the north of Amish country. So right here, this is US 33. As you're coming into Decatur, you've got a Walmart sitting right here. As you're working up north, you've got the Back 40 Junction restaurant here in Decatur. And then you've also got Monmouth up here. There's some ballpark diamonds up there as well. Kind of getting you a little bit more familiar with where exactly we're talking about. So at red polygon now, this is your new tornado warning for central Adams County. Decatur's going to be the county seat of Adams County, if you will, till 1:45. Radar indicated rotation. That's the key right now. We do not have a confirmation of a tornado. As John said, the Hartford County or the Hartford City Police Department said there was a report of a tornado in the northern part of the county. We're working to confirm that, but that's going to be the southern circulation. So now we're going to have to see if they're going to issue a new tornado warning for maybe southeastern Wells, northwestern Jay, and southern Adams County. That would take us over to about the US 27 corridor. So that's where things are standing right now. If you're just now tuning in, John Tenney is with me, and I may try to switch him over to desktop audio here momentarily so I don't have to. I'm on the phone right now. Didn't quite have that set up, so I may switch over to that momentarily. But just kind of bear in mind with us through the afternoon. We might be here for a little bit. We might be here for a little while. We might not be. It just kind of depends on how these storms want to act. But let's go back to velocity real quick. And now the circulation over Bluffton is trying to tighten up a little bit. Okay, it's still a little broad. And I also want to point out, see this little bow looking thing here, the red? Okay, see how that kind of bows out? You have the backward C shape with us here. Okay, where we see that, that's where John was kind of talking about potential for an outflow dominant. But I'm also concerned that maybe if there is a tornado here, that could be kind of a rear flank type situation. So maybe some strong damaging winds may be coming into Veracruz potentially right now as well. So that's just another concern that we're going to have to bear our minds with here through the afternoon as we continue. But you saw the new tornado warning pop up there for Adams County, and again that goes until 1:45. I'm going to turn the watches off for the time being. So Southern circulation, Montpelier, the city itself, we're going to give it just a few more minutes. That will give you an all clear. I know the warning is set to expire in 9 minutes, but I can promise you that the storm will be out of the polygon before 1:30. So tracking that southern circulation down the line, Bern, Geneva, and up to Rockford and Wilshire. And there's your new tornado warning now for southeastern Wells, northwestern Jay, and south central Adams County. This will likely go until 1:45, and it does. Radar indicated rotation. So essentially now up and down the US 27 corridor from Geneva to Decatur, we've got to be in that 20 to safe place right now. We cannot wait to act. We got to get there now. Yeah, John, you got something for us?
No, I was going to say it's going to be north of Bryant. From Geneva up to Bern, you need to be in your safe place at this point. Again, most of that, until it gets into Geneva and Bern, is going to be out over a pretty rural area, Dick. Mainly Amish country out there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And John, real quick, can you hang up on the phone? I'm going to switch you over to desktop so that things are a little bit better. I will call you right back in just a second. Right. So let me switch him over real quick so we can have a little bit better presentation here so you guys don't have to listen to muffled audio. And we'll get him switched over here and we'll go from that. But again, right now, 2 active tornado warnings are in effect. We need you in your safe places there in Decatur, down to Geneva, Bern, and also in the Monroe area. There are a couple of school districts in here as well, and it's not, not sure if they're on spring break, but we need to be in our safe places no matter where we stand right now in those particular areas. And I'll get John back on the line with us here this way. And yep, I got you. So let's go ahead and switch it over this way so I can have a little bit better bearing on some things, and I can also use the phone to kind of look for some reports and things from our team. So Zach is also mentioning that we're watching another storm kind of right out ahead of the line here just a little bit, and I see where he's talking about here in the northeastern Allen County. So let's jump up here just real quick. Okay, right here around Woodburn, that's going to be US 24 that takes you off to the northeast. This is Hicksville, that's in southwestern Defiance County. We'll see if this segment starts to act up a little bit, and maybe we see maybe a brief tornado potential pop up with this as well. Going over to velocity, I do see a spike here north of Woodburn. It's subtle, but it's there. We are likely seeing some very strong winds in Woodburn right now. So again, that's US 24. It's coming right up into Antwerp, the same place that was just hit on Friday. Northwestern Paulding County, it's coming right up to you now. We might see a new warning come up relatively quickly, potentially, for Paulding County. So let's watch that one close. Let's jump back down to the south real quick. A couple of circulations still continuing with us. We're talking about just to the north of Veracruz, right on the Wells-Adams County line. Okay, that's the darker black line that you see here. So the Wells County area, Bluffton, you're in the clear at this point. Pinedo, we can give you an all clear. And Montpelier, we can give you an all clear as well. If you're east of there, we still got to be in that 20 to safe place right now. Again, that's going to be below ground. Put as many walls between you and the outside. Make sure that if you are in a mobile home, if you have the time to do so, evacuate and find a more substantial shelter. But this line is moving very, very quickly off to the east-northeast. I do want to track the whole line just in case we do get a new warning here in the next few minutes for portions of Paulding County, Ohio, possibly. So let's go and track the whole line. We'll take it off to the northeast. We'll move it at 65. I know that might be a little bit fast, but I'd rather give you a little bit extra lead time than none at all. Okay, so we're talking about Vanward at 139. We're talking Defiance at 141, Salina 145, Lima at about 2 o'clock. And working our way down the line here, we're talking about Wapakoneta here in the next 40 minutes as well. Coming into Portland in about probably 5 or so minutes for you. I did track it a little bit ahead of where the line is currently positioned because I do expect the next scan will be a lot closer to where I currently have it tracked. Moving into Findlay at 217 and Toledo not too long after that. So this is the line that we've been kind of talking about throughout the day that would start to develop. We'll see how long it sustains and maintains itself. So let's just kind of hang tight and see how things progress. Let's get you back in here. Again, 2 active tornado warnings. We have one broad circulation. It was a little bit stronger when we first came on, but just to the east of Bluffton now, moving into Adams County, south of Decatur. This is US 27. It takes you from Decatur down to Bryant and eventually down to Portland. If you go back the other way, you have US 33 and US 27 that takes you back up into Fort Wayne. So again, Walmart indicator sits right about here. Back 40 Junction is up here as well. There's also several other restaurants like a McDonald's and a Wendy's. I believe there's also a Rural King there in Decatur as well. This is coming right up into that area, so we've got to be in that safe place right now. If you work down 27, you start to move into Amish country, especially here into Bern. and then down there towards Geneva as well. So that's south central Adams County. And again, these little kinks in the line like we're seeing here and also up into here, any one of these could produce a brief tornado. So John, are you having any new updates from your neck of the woods, your side of things?
No, I'm just trying to communicate with some family that were in the path of this. And again, if you're in the Bluffton area, your threat is over. I know that my wife said that they were still in shelter, and they're doing that just till the warning expires or is updated, and that should happen pretty quick. But again, we do have active tornado warnings from Decatur pretty much all the way down to Geneva. If you were south of that, down towards the Bryant area, down into Portland, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. There's currently no tornado threat for you. Continue to get questions about Gas City and Marion. The severe threat is over for you. Once this line passes, the severe threat comes to an end for you. So now we're going to quickly begin to focus now on the Indiana-Ohio border. Things coming into Ohio City here pretty quick. Ultimately, Van Wert, Rockford. If you're watching in those areas, heads up. There's some rough weather headed your way. Probably going to see at least a severe thunderstorm warning issued here very soon.
I would tend to agree with that. And real quick, if Zach or Tyler are watching, if I could get the video that we are currently live on Ohio News Weather pinned to the top of the page, I would appreciate just that it is right there at the top for folks. And again, we might be here for a little while. We might kind of come and go as the afternoon goes. So just kind of bear with us here. All the warnings are also scrolling at the bottom of your screen for any updates on those as well. You can also make sure that you have the Bell Park Weather Network app downloaded. So again, right now we're coming right up on US 27 here. So down here is Portland. Okay, so the city of Portland, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, but the sirens might be sounding because there's a tornado warning for northwestern Jay County. You're not under a tornado warning, just kind of be in that safe place though, just in case. Geneva, Bern, Monroe, Decatur, pretty much all of Adams County. I know not the entire county's under a warning, but it's essentially the entire county. We're relatively close in terms of our bigger population centers. We've got to be in that safe place. Also, a location not really listed here, but you got Pleasant Mills right on the Indiana-Ohio state line essentially. You're very close to that tornado warning as well, and I want to make sure that you're getting in that safe place right now and just to kind of be there. And thank you, Zach. I appreciate that. Let's work up the line just a little bit here, take you into northwest Ohio because I am still concerned about Paulding County. Let's look at velocity here. So right, again, this is subtle, okay? But these brighter reds that we're seeing right over Antwerp here, there's no greens, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. We had a confirmed tornado the other day up here with a velocity signature relatively similar to this. Okay, so this is pretty much riding up US 24. There's no warning right now, but I would just kind of encourage you to stay inside, stay away from windows, and let this storm pass by as we continue to kind of progress on through. So that's kind of where we stand right now. Northwest Ohio moving in through Defiance and Paulding County. There's also up here into Defiance County, a little bit of a notch north of Hicksville. Okay, again, no warning up here, but again, anytime, and I'm going to go back to what Mike Joyce said on Friday night with us. Okay, sometimes there's just enough. There's just enough in the atmosphere, and we had numerous tornadoes Friday night into early Saturday morning. I don't want to use that. I don't want to use that as like a scare tactic. Okay, that's not what I'm here to do. But looking at least somewhat similar in terms of the overall setup with the tornadoes along the leading edge of the lines. Okay, that's what I am a little bit concerned about. Go ahead, John.
Okay, I guess I was looking on the radar and then seeing like 3 different tornadoes. Okay, there it is. It updated. Yep. I was looking at 3 different tornado warnings. I was like, wait a minute here.
Yeah, so they went and let it expire at 1:30. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, and they did update it. So Bluffton, you're no longer in the warning. That is all to the east of you. Again, your indicator in Monroe. The new severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, just issued.
Yeah.
For Rockford, Mendon, and Mendon, Salina, Coldwater. But if your indicator, your time is up, Monroe, your time's up. Bern, as fast as this is moving, you've got maybe a minute or two, and your time will be up. So you need to go ahead and make sure you're in your safe place at this point.
Yeah, so real quick, that's going to be a new severe thunderstorm until 2:15 for Mercer County. So that includes Rockford. It's very close to Wilshire. It kind of sits right there on the Van Wert and Mercer County line. I would expect we're going to see a new warning shortly for at least Paulding and Van Wert and maybe further north, but we'll see where that goes in a minute. But essentially all of Mercer County, that includes portions of the Grand Lake, St. Mary's area down to Coldwater and St. Henry, We're underneath this severe thunderstorm until 2:15. It is tagged tornado possible. And again, given what we're seeing right now across Adams County with these couple of areas of circulation, would not be surprised if Mercer County gets added to a tornado warning shortly. So just kind of be prepared and ready to go just in case that warning is issued. Let's go back to velocity here again to kind of get you an update on things. So again, we still have 2 areas of circulation. Okay, and again, they're not the most well defined, but again, we saw what happened with our last system, right? They don't always have to be the best looking. So coming
And, and I'm wondering though, Nick, like you said, if that is not because those storms are fairly low topped.
And that very well could be. Very well could be.
And I don't know. See, I'm going to try to figure that out here in a moment.
Yeah, and if you hear any reports, I know you have some failing bluffed, and hopefully everybody's good. So just let us know as well, just that everybody also kind of knows what's going on.
I think everything is going off without hitch.
That's good.
So as far as I know, because Casey works there at WEG, or what used to be Bluffton Motor Works, Franklin Electric, some people will know that. So everything appears to have gone off, perfectly. They did the right thing. They sought shelter. So kudos to the management there for doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's going to be a key today, right? We probably got a lot of folks at work as well. And again, some school districts may be in session right now as well. So again, a couple areas of circulation. They're not the best looking, but what is left of it is going to be crossing US 27 about a mile or 2 south of Decatur, where US 27 and US 33 come together. And then working our way south a little bit down here towards Bern. Again, we're kind of getting into Amish country out here. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, sorry. Speaking on that cloud top, yeah, we're only talking 15, 20,000 feet, dude.
Yeah, so this is a relatively low top. So any tornadoes that are happening, radar beam's likely going to miss them. Okay, so when we do have tornado warnings today, we've got to take them seriously. Very similar to the other nights, the overall signature likely not going to look the best today. But we still will show it to you just because that's our job here, is to keep you informed of what's going on. So again, as it stands right now, Decatur, Monroe, Bern, Geneva. Still got to be in that safe place again. Now, the southern cell is kind of moving to more rural Amish type territory out here. So if there's anybody out there taking a look at this, you might get a slightly better vantage point, but we want you inside. We don't want you risking your life. We want you to get indoors, get into that tornado safe place, and just kind of hang out there. So monitoring that as well. Back up to the north into Paulding County real quick. This one has also kind of broadened out, but I would anticipate you're likely seeing some rather strong winds. This is going to be near and north of US 24, so Antwerp, Cecil, and Defiance, and kind of points north. So you've got Ney and Sherwood here as well, up to Bryan and southern Williams County. No warning, but again, it does not necessarily require a warning if you are already kind of ongoing and you're seeing those damaging straight line winds kind of moving through. So another kind of point is I kind of broaden this out for you just a little bit. Noticing just a couple of things. Number one, we're kind of seeing this maybe wanting to split in terms of maybe splitting into multiple segments. You're kind of seeing that here. From Paulding County up into Williams County, this one looks a little stronger. Southeastern Allen County, not as much going on. And then obviously the other part of the line from Decatur and Point South is definitely stronger. So, and when we saw the splitting of the line the other night, right around Wapakoneta, is where we saw a tornado develop. So not trying to predict anything, just kind of giving you some analysis and observation based on what I am seeing at the particular moment. So that's kind of where things. So let's get you back into our 2 tornado warnings again. Southeastern Wells County, and really Wells County in itself, right? We can give you an all clear. This is strictly an Adams County problem now, and it may eventually move into Van Wert County. And again, now I will say rear inflow notch, noticing that now just to the south of Decatur. Okay, you see where the reflectivity here is kind of looping back around? Okay, you can almost kind of see an inverted hook right there, so to speak. I am concerned that we could see a tornado potentially developing there. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning now for Paulding and Van Wert County. Tag tornado possible until 2 o'clock. So that does put US 30, which sits right here. Okay, takes you down into Van Wert, crossing through Convoy and over to Delphos as you work further east. You've got a solar wind farm up here. Okay, so a lot of windmills in the path of this as well. I just got to give you some geographical reference points here. Okay, here's US 224 from Van Wert to Decatur, kind of right in the path of this. So John, to me, the fact that they may have went ahead and issued a severe thunderstorm versus a tornado warning, maybe not as strong of an evidence, but
yeah,
folks
I
still need to be in
definitely
their
don't see the rotation nearly as good now, Nick.
Yeah, so that's kind of where things are standing real quick. And interesting, so Adriana is just telling us that Verizon has lost cellular service in downtown Dayton, so that's not very good. for anybody that may be trying to watch us at the present moment, or anybody that's perhaps serviced in that area. So we'll monitor that situation, see if that progresses any further. But as we continue to monitor things here this afternoon, if you're just now tuning in, I'm forecaster Nick Dunn along with John Tinney. I've had a couple tornado warnings spike up here in the last 15 to 30 minutes across parts of Wells and Huntington and Blackford and Jay and Adams counties. And we're going to hang tight here for a little bit because we have a couple of new severe thunderstorm warnings for Mercer and Van Wert County, Ohio, and also into southeastern Paulding County that are tagged tornado possible. And given the overall history of what we've seen radar signature-wise, we're just going to hang tight with these and see if they elect to issue any new tornado warnings. I do want to track a couple of these spots for you. Let's see what they've got these moving at first. It might be helpful so I kind of have the right angle on things. Moving northeast at looks like 60 is about the general motion. So let's track the northern tornado warning first, likely sitting right about there. We'll take it off to the east-northeast for you here, right about 60 miles per hour. So Van Wert 152. You can see the radar just updated there on me. Delphos 204, looking at Columbus Grove at 219, and Pandora at 225. So that's based on current movement. If it slows down or speeds up, that's going to adjust the time, but that's an approximate arrival time. I would allow 5 minutes either way on that, just to kind of give you a heads up. Let's track the southern circulation here real quick. Down into southeastern Adams County. Okay, again, we'll move this off to the east-northeast at about 60 to 65. So burn 140, and to kind of get you a couple other spots in the path here as well. Okay, Rockford, looking at about 16 minutes for you, so that would give you about 153 as an arrival time for you. We'll see if the Weather Service, and keep in mind here too, we have two Weather Service offices. Okay, this is where offices kind of converge a little bit. Van Wert County is handled by the Weather Service in northern Indiana. Mercer County is handled by the Weather Service in Wilmington, Ohio. So we'll see what the Weather Service offices elect to do. I will say the northern circulation now looking a little bit more disjointed on this recent scan, but it has kind of been up and down just a little bit in terms of the overall intensity. So Wren, Wilshire, Ohio City, Van Wert, we need to be in our safe place. So I'm just kind of move indoors and just be ready to go in case they do upgrade this to a tornado warning. You've also got the Van Wert Hospital here. You've also got Van Wert High School in the path of this as well. As we kind of work our way down there, again, there's Ohio City, and this is 127. Sorry, let me move the cursor out of the way there. Sorry about that. So there's 127. When you get to right here at the 127-33 interchange, there's going to be a truck stop and a restaurant right there. And then if you work down southeast 33 a little bit more, Neptune sits right about here or so, and then you work into more Vaucluse County. So pretty familiar with this area, just very kind of give you some geographical reference points as to where we're talking about. But we're talking about two areas in particular along the squall line that do have a potential of a brief tornado. Okay, we're not talking about a long track type tornado. We're talking about the kind that spin up real quick and they drop down, they do a little bit of damage, and they pop back up. I do not see any evidence that we are in a situation where we're talking about long tracked, violent type tornadoes. We're just not quite in that particular setup today, especially when we have a QLCS type situation ongoing. So, John, any updates from your end?
No, Nick, not at this point. But yeah, the more I'm looking, the more I'm convinced. Yeah, they're gonna allow those tornado warnings to expire.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of checking the velocity one more time here. Yeah, I really think this is more of a wind threat now, straight line wind threat at this point, Nick.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that, and I would agree with you. Obviously, we don't want to completely rule out the chance of a tornado. And real quick, too, this is not a mesoscale discussion. This is a precipitation discussion, but it includes central Indiana through western Ohio, central Ohio, into northern Ohio for heavy rainfall. So that's something we'll continue to monitor through the afternoon. I know Tyler said, okay, we are expecting a new tornado watch soon for most of Ohio down into southeastern Indiana. So as soon as that watch is issued, I know our team will be monitoring that and we'll get that posted on the proper platforms. But I'm going to continue to hang live with you here for a little while longer. We'll stick with this here, okay? Even after these warnings do expire, I'm still seeing a couple of interesting spots on the line. One of those is right here along the Van Wert, really actually I should say right along the state line. So Wren down here to Wilshire, there's US 33, working our way down. Okay, our second area of concern is going to be down now moving into southeastern portions of Adams County. And once you get past Bern and Geneva, it is relatively rural as you work east of US 27 towards the state line. Then you got northwestern portions of Mercer County here, relatively rural outside of Rockford. So just kind of being that indoors and just be ready to go. That's kind of the key today. Everyone should be prepared. Make sure you have the Bell Park Weather Network app downloaded. The nice thing is if you're watching us right now on the mobile app, good afternoon to you. If you have to take shelter, be sure you take your devices with you down to your shelter. Okay, we'll keep you informed as to what's going on. So at this point, John, based on the latest scan, I do think that Decatur, Monroe, we can give an all clear to those folks. Bern and Geneva, maybe not quite yet, but definitely Decatur and Monroe.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So, yeah, again, this line is crossing into Ohio. So, pretty much, if you're in Portland, the line is passing over you now back down towards farmland. It's going to be coming into Winchester. But again, it's going to move through very quickly. So, the severe threat rapidly coming to an end for all of Indiana.
Yeah, it is. And real quick, too, a new severe thunderstorm warning just posted for Defiance, Fulton, Henry, Paulding, Putnam, and Williams. There's your new polygon. Relatively large, by the way. Let's see if they've went ahead and tagged this as tornado possible. They did until 2:30, moving east at 55 to 60. So now the cities of Defiance, Napoleon, moving up there towards Bryan, down to Paulding, over to Colida. You've also got US 127, and then there's US 24. And then again, from here on, if it goes further east, we go into the Weather Service forecast office in Cleveland, Ohio, for places like Toledo, Bowling Green, and Findlay. And I'm sure Zach is going to have our Skycam network popped up as well, and he'll let us know if we're seeing anything on that as we're kind of looking back to the west. So we'll monitor that as well. We've got a nice little Skycam network that we've got up and ready to go. So we'll let you know if we see anything there, and we'll try to bring that up live if we can. So multiple severe thunderstorm warnings now in effect for northwest Ohio. And real quick, in terms of the Indiana risk, unless you are really Adams and Jay counties and point south, that last row of counties in Indiana, if you're west of that, the overall severe risk is coming to an end. But we still have Adams, Jay, and then down into Randolph, Wayne, Fayette, Union, Franklin, Dearborn, and Ripley. Those areas are still in effect. But just to kind of add on to John's point, for most of Indiana, that risk is coming to an end relatively quickly, especially at the storm motions that we are continuing to see as it stands around. Let's get you back into Van Wert County here real quick. I am seeing a little bit of an inflow notch up here towards Convoy, but again, these are really subtle, and we're kind of maybe being a little too nitpicky in a couple of spots, but we like to point things out to you as we see them. We look at velocity, and yeah, it's very broad. Okay, very, very broad, and I'm also kind of seeing, again, maybe a little bit of a rear flank type situation or an outflow boundary or a gust front, if you will, kind of setting up. And John, sometimes even in a weaker type tornado, a rear flank type of strong wind on the backside can cause some damage as well.
Yeah, you can get what they call a rear flank downdraft, and those winds can be just as strong, if not stronger, than a tornado at times.
Yeah, we've definitely experienced that, haven't we?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so real quick, let's get you southeastern Adams County. You're not in a warning. Very rural southeastern Adams County, but look what we're seeing start to pop up here again, okay? This is a little bit stronger type circulation, but again, not necessarily the best, well-defined, but we've seen signatures like this get tornado warned. So Rockford, over there towards, it's going to be Mendon, being ready to go in case a tornado warning is issued for your particular area. We'll kind of wait and see what they're going to do with that here in the next few minutes. Just kind of checking the overall grand scheme of things as we kind of zoom things out for you. Okay, looks like Mike Joyce is going to be heading out to do some spotting this afternoon as well, so that's good to know. Let's get you up here in northwest Ohio, rural, kind of far northwest Ohio, real quick. Did not mean to say rural, the wrong word came out, but a couple spots are a little bit concerning to me. Okay, one of those is going to be right here. Maybe a little bit of a rear notch to the south of Sherwood there. That's just crossing US 127 and US 24. One spot there of interest, and then a second one up here into east central parts of Williams County, about to cross into Fulton County, heading towards Wauseon. That's the Ohio Turnpike. If you head west, it becomes the Indiana Toll Road. Head east, it takes you down there towards Toledo. You've also got US 20. That pretty much runs right along parallel there with the Turnpike at this point in time. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like this new tornado watch, they did not give a probability for it, but it is likely that we are going to see a new watch. Let me see if I can pop up that mesoscale discussion for you now. And yes, I'm going to have to turn off the heavy rainfall. So kind of zoom this out wide picture for you, okay? So anybody that is in this blue circle, and by the way, both tornado warnings have now been allowed to expire that it's 1:45. So we're tornado warning free at this point. Anybody in this blue, If you know anybody out ahead of this, just kind of let them know that a new tornado watch is forthcoming. That will include the Cleveland office, the Wilmington office, the Indianapolis office. It kind of grazes Charleston and Pittsburgh. We'll see if they get involved. But kind of how this works is they issue a discussion, and then the Weather Service offices will hop on a phone call with the Storm Prediction Center, and they'll kind of coordinate and see if a watch is required and who's in and who's out and that kind of thing. So I'm sure that some of those discussions are kind of happening relatively soon. Let's get you an updated track on the overall line as a whole here. And here soon we will probably do, if warnings continue, an updated push notification for areas east of I-75. But we'll stand by on that and see how things progress over the next several minutes. But Richmond, Indiana down there, far southern part of your screen there, about 2 o'clock for you. Lima at about 2:10, Sydney 2:20, Bowling Green 2:20 if this continues on its current pace and current speed. Dayton, good afternoon to you, about 2:30 the way things are looking right now. And again, we'll add in some other pages here as we get a little bit further into Ohio and get some more folks on board and just kind of keep you up to date on what's going on out there this afternoon. But as it stands right now, a squall line moving through the area. And John, very similar to the other night, it's not this is kind of a pencil thin line. We kind of have just enough instability to work with right now. Obviously, there are some spots way out ahead of this that are getting some rain, and that might help to potentially overwork the atmosphere. But just enough juice out there today to kind of keep things going.
Yeah, and we thought this might happen, early on, in the day, and thankfully though, the other scenario did not play out where we had these large violent tornadoes and we only got this one round. So we're still very fortunate, So thankful that, considering all the damage that was still being cleaned up, that this was the worst that we had.
Yeah, and I think this is, again, a very good outcome. Okay, and I know some folks are probably not going to be happy because we were talking about this potential and then it's not going to materialize. Well, folks, this is what happens sometimes in weather. Sometimes a couple things just don't come together, and we had some mild disagreements at times. We've had timing changes. I mean, the overall trough as a whole slowed down by about a day, and so that really kind of threw a big wrinkle into things. But again, given the fact what we just had happen a few days ago, if this is the worst as it gets today, I'm very happy with that. If we don't get anything worse than this, and anything worse than what we've seen back across parts of northeastern Indiana, I feel a lot better about our overall outcome today. So let's hope it stays that way. Real quick, though, a couple spots starting to pop up for a couple of maybe enhanced corridors of some stronger wind gusts. One of those is going to be right here in northwestern Mercer County. It's about to cross US 33 by the truck stop at 127. Another spot into western Van Wert County. And again, we're probably being a little nitpicky here, but just kind of point out a couple observations. And then really this entire segment on the northern side is very stout from about Defiance up to the Ohio-Michigan state line. You're going to get a very, very nice downpour of rain there. In addition, you're probably seeing some good lightning. And of course, I know Zach's got the sky cams keyed up, watching that. If he feels we need to take one of those live, he'll let us know, and I'll be more than glad to pop that up and kind of show you that. We don't always get a chance to do that, obviously, but this might be one of the situations where we can. Working further south down the line, those of you down here into Randolph County, down into Henry County, obviously we kind of start to lose some radar coverage the further south we go here from the northern Indiana site, but Randolph County is seeing a pretty good segment coming through. Weather Service in Indianapolis not electing to warn that one right now. East Central Jay County, kind of Portland and points east. We're still looking at the kind of the back end of that segment coming through. Some strong gusty winds and heavy rain still likely for you. Same down here in the Newcastle leading edge, kind of coming through Richmond, you're next in line. Winchester, you're about to get it now. Then this moves into Dark County around Greenville, and then again kind of crossing 127. They've updated the Van Wert and Paulding County warning. There was just a small sliver of Adams County in initially. They've taken them out, so now all of our Indiana counties are completely warning free at the time. And John, again, kind of west of 69, obviously you're done, but even Bluffton, Decatur, Hartford City, severe threats definitely over for those folks.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, again, the storms are moving east of Portland. There's no warning down for Union City. And so, the severe threat for Indiana pretty much over at this point. The tornado watch will be canceled. And so once we get this out of our northwestern Ohio counties, our coverage area is done, and that should happen over the next hour.
Yeah, and John's referencing the Wabash region there just for reference.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, no, you're good. No, you're definitely good. But those of you that are watching across the rest of our platforms, obviously, we will continue with coverage as necessary here through the afternoon. But real quick, just kind of an overall observation for you. I do think that the strongest part of the line right now, being across northwestern Ohio, is kind of, I don't want to say the hot spot, so to speak, but there's definitely kind of an area of interest up here. So we could see some additional warnings required soon for places like the city of Lima, down to Wapakoneta, maybe even St. Mary's as well. So let's kind of zoom into a couple of spots. I do want to check velocity just to make sure we're not missing anything, because again, just a couple of spots that kind of comparing back to what happened not too long ago. Yeah, so not seeing much. And once we get a little bit closer and more into northwest Ohio as well, especially closer to Salina, we'll be able to turn on that terminal Doppler in Dayton to get another closer look at things. But right here, okay, again, a very broad area of stronger winds and maybe some broad rotation coming towards Rockford. Nothing discrete though. Same thing for Van Wert. This looks really, really, I mean, I wouldn't even call this much of anything other than stronger winds coming right into the city of Van Wert at this time. We'll see if that changes over the next couple scans, okay? Because again, now the further into northwest Ohio we also look, we start to have issues with radar coverage. That beam continues to shoot higher and higher and higher, and as John alluded to a little earlier, these storm tops are not very high today. So it may not take, we may not get a very good look at things for quite a while now until we get closer to another radar site. So and then this northern polygon, I don't see any kind of rotation or any kind of kinks in the line at all. So again, there's US 127 runs from Bryan down to Paulding. If you are Bryan to Paulding and west, you are good. South of Paulding, we're not good yet. East of Paulding, we're not good yet. East of Bryan, we're definitely not quite good just yet. But once this line clears your location, you are good. That's the key there to kind of take away. The Weather Service in Indianapolis continuing to drop some counties off the tornado watch. Again, there were a couple of watches in existence previously. One of those, northwest Ohio, northeast Indiana until 4 o'clock, Miami Valley, east central Indiana until 5 o'clock, and we do anticipate a new one soon for a good chunk of the rest of the state of Ohio, likely to go through mid to late evening based on the current time frame. They usually issue those for about 6 to 8 hours in duration, so we'll see how long they go with that. A few trees have been reported down in Jonesboro and Grant County as of 12:50. And then on the northwest side of Indianapolis, a semi-truck was flipped over on I-65 by thunderstorm winds in Boone County. But again, John, even the reports so far today have been very few and far between, which, again, is a blessing, and I will take it based on what we've just had over the last week.
Yeah, I'm looking through now and just to see if I can see any reports coming in, and and yeah, I mean, few and far between. Even with the couple of tornado warned storms. I mean, I'll be posting some content earlier. That stuff come right over me, but I had to come in here and jump on live. We had a gnarly looking shelf cloud with some rotation come over my location. So, but thankfully, I am not seeing anything regarding the 2 tornado warnings other than a few pictures of the storm.
Yeah, real quick, just got a comment out of southern Jay County saying that you could definitely feel the temperature change. So again, once you get behind this line,
temperature bottoms out.
Yeah, John. John, what is your temperature now? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, let me look here, because I thought the same thing as one, basically once the line passed. I'm down to 65 degrees, Nick, with a dew point of 60. So I went from like 72, 73 to 65, dude.
Yeah, so that's a very quick drop off in temperature, obviously. So you're going to be noticing that as we continue to work through the rest of the afternoon as well. So if you're just now tuning in, I'm forecasting Done with John Tinney. Again, we are watching some severe thunderstorm warnings, just kind of hanging around here for a little bit, just to kind of hang tight, make sure we're good. We've got forecaster Zach Batten watching our Skycam network in Toledo, Bowling Green, and Findlay, kind of pointing back to the west. And we'll watch and see if maybe we get anything that we can potentially pop up on the wall here for you. And if there is, they'll let us know. We'll go from there. Forecaster Tyler Phillips, I know, has been watching some things. And the rest of our team has also been watching things. So I know meteorologist Adriana Michael's watching things. We've got everybody just kind of keeping an eye on things today. Again, a new tornado watch is expected shortly within the next, I'd say, hour or so for a good portion of the rest of the state of Ohio. There's also a precipitation discussion that is out for the risk of heavy rainfall across a good portion of Ohio this afternoon. And John, that's one other thing too, because this front has slowed down. Storms are not moving as fast necessarily as the other day, but some of the models have indicated that maybe we get a good bout of moderate rain for several hours, even once this line clears us. And it looks like that might be kind of taking shape now, just to your southwest.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. What was you saying, Nick? I was.
Oh no, you're
answering.
good. No, it's all good. I was just kind of pointing out that even once this line passes, we'll still have some pretty moderate to even maybe briefly heavy rain showers.
Yeah. There's some moderate to heavy, light to moderate rain about to come through into Kokomo now. Matter of fact, the window that I look out here from the office, it looks to the west southwest, and you can already see that beginning to move in. So, sorry, I was answering some questions and dealing with things there.
No, you're good. Any damage reports or anything that you're hearing out of Bluffton yet, or anything, or is everything still looking
I am
good?
not.
Oh, actually, I
matter
just
of fact,
got one. Let's see what we just got one popped up here. Reports of tree damage at the intersection of Hoosier Highway and East 200 South near Travisville.
Yep, I'm just seeing this now. Matter of fact, Aaron Jajak's posting video of out of East Bluffton where the rotation on the tornado warning storm passed over, and people driving like knuckleheads over there. I'm sorry. But yeah, very large tree completely uprooted, Nick, based on what I'm seeing there.
We might see some other kind of scattered reports like that, I think, as the afternoon continues. So let's get you an updated storm track, if you will, especially in these spots where we have some active warnings kind of ongoing. See if I can get this line to connect right with us here. Well, we'll just draw it again. Kind of working down the line here, and let's work off to the northeast here at about 60 miles an hour or so roughly. So that gives us Napoleon here at the top of the hour in just a few minutes. Lima at about 216, Wapak 217, Bowling Green 224, Toledo 224, Findlay at about 230, and moving into Fremont and Tiffin just before the 3 o'clock hour. So I'm sure Owen will be getting excited about that as we get towards the 3 o'clock hour. And of course, he'll be keeping on things once that line kind of approaches his area as well. So real quick recap on warnings for us. Also, real quick, an update too. Tyler's just saying we do have a tree down on a house right now in Defiance. So that's just now kind of coming in there. Sorry, Defiance County, not the city of Defiance. But yeah, that's definitely not a good. It's not a good thing to hear. So that kind of gives you a heads up, kind of downstream. Okay, we just kind of talked about Toledo, Bowling Green, Findlay. Getting some of the reports are starting to trickle in a little bit now from some of our storms across northwest Ohio, northeastern Indiana. Just be prepared, some damage as possible. So real quick, kind of recapping warnings for you until 2:30. Severe thunderstorm warning, tag tornado possible for winds up to 60 miles per hour for Fulton, Henry, Defiance, Paulding, and Putnam counties in northwestern Ohio. Severe thunderstorm warning also in effect until 2 o'clock for south central Paulding and essentially all of Van Wert County. Same deal, tornado possible, tag winds up to 60 miles per hour. And Mercer County, same deal for you until 2:15. Severe thunderstorm warning, tag tornado possible, damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour are possible. So again, lower end severe thunderstorm warnings. I want to stress that the overall threat today is on a more standardized lower end and not a middle to upper end type severe risk. In case you are just now joining in and you have completely missed all of our updates today, Storm Prediction Center kind of trimmed back the risk. We've got a lot of clouds overhead, so it's kind of helping keep instability down a little bit. And we've got kind of watching a couple other things as we move on through, just not as impressive of a risk out there as we continue to move on through. So that's kind of where things are standing right now. We still have an overall level 2 out of 5 risk for a lot of us, and a level 3 out of 5 risk. I can turn that on real quick as well, just to kind of show you kind of what we're watching there. Sorry, John might be talking to somebody back there. So we're going to watch this as we continue to kind of progress on through here this afternoon. But the way things are currently standing, we still have a 5% tornado risk for really a good portion of the area. Don't want that to be remissed or kind of forgotten about. So kind of clean up the radar here a little bit for you just briefly. We'll turn off the radar and the warnings and the watches just for the time being. just to kind of show you a couple different things here. Okay, so still have a level 2 out of 5 risk for tornadoes really across the entire Buckeye State, top to bottom, right to left, any way you slice it. We got a decent risk of a couple tornadoes potentially still popping up this afternoon. And the level 3 out of 5 risk has been trimmed back and kind of refined a little bit. So that includes southeastern Indiana, north central Kentucky, up through the I-71 corridor. In fact, the entire I-71 corridor is underneath that level 3 out of 5 risk of seeing severe weather this afternoon. Again, it includes a chance of a few tornadoes, strong to damaging wind gusts, and maybe some hail. The primary threat, I'll switch you over to the wind probability just so that you can see that area in red. Okay, that equates to that level 3 out of 5 risk, matches up right on par with that level 3 out of 5 risk. And again, damaging winds are going to be our primary concern through the rest of the afternoon. So that's kind of where things are standing there. Another report just kind of coming in out of Grant County of a 59-mile-per-hour wind gust from Gas City. And now we are hearing that we are going to see a severe thunderstorm watch and not a tornado watch. Just kind of being updated here as to what they are going to go with. And I completely kind of agree with that based on the overall trends. And John, did you have something? Oh, they just issued it. Okay. Okay. Okay, so okay. I will get that popped up as well. Got a new warning coming in here as well, so let me get the radar kind of
okay. I need to clarify that the severe threat is over for Indiana. So there will not be any more rounds of severe weather.
Yeah, that's a very good point to kind of keep in mind there as well. Again, once this line passes, it's all done and over. Okay, so that's kind of something to bear in mind. So the new watch will also go until 8 o'clock, by the way, and you'll see that pop up here in pink on the screen here, hopefully in just a few moments. Got a new warning real quick to you for the city of Lima. This can be a severe thunderstorm warning tag, tornado possible till 2:45. And they may actually be taking this watch all the way across the entire state. So we'll take a look at that here in just a few moments. But they've elected to go severe thunderstorm watch and not a tornado watch. So again, that's adding in to the overall idea of a more standardized, typical risk and not a upper echelon type risk like we could have been looking at based on how things were looking a couple of days ago. So new severe thunderstorm warning until 2:45 for the city of Lima and Van Wert in southern Putnam County. They kind of redrew the warning just to kind of give you a heads up there for those of you in Van Wert County. Again, we're talking 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, maybe an isolated tornado or two, not out of the question. It would be very brief. And when we see the tornado possible tag, just as a reminder, that means that there's some things on radar being looked at, but evidence and what's going on based on current reports are not strong enough to warrant a tornado warning at this particular point in time. So let's see if I can get that watch to pop up for us now. Not wanting to work just yet, that's fine. Probably still kind of filling in as we go along. So northeastern Indiana, your overall threat is over. We're still watching this line down here towards Richmond, but again, even that is not overly impressive whatsoever. But again, that new severe thunderstorm watch, I'm really trying to get this to pop up on the software here, but it's not wanting to work. So I'll see if maybe I'm just not. I don't know. We'll see. Other offices may still kind of be working to fill things in. So but that'll go until 8 o'clock tonight. Okay, so that'll include Columbus, it'll include Mansfield, it'll include Cleveland, Toledo, down to Bowling Green, Mansfield, Ashland, Bellefontaine, Springfield. All of you guys will kind of be in that. So I tell you what, right now we're kind of at a little bit of a lull. Okay, where things have kind of tempered off a little bit, if you will. We're not getting any substantial necessarily reports. That tree on a house, by the way, was on 184 North on Water Street in the town of Ney in Defiance County. There's that new watch, by the way, finally populated for us. That's that area in pink, goes until 8 o'clock, so I'll zoom it out for you. Okay, so Toledo, Bowling Green, Findlay, Springfield, down to Columbus, Portsmouth, Mansfield, Cleveland, Ashtabula, Akron, Canton, Youngstown. All of you are underneath the severe thunderstorm watch until 8 o'clock tonight, and it is because we're watching a squall line ongoing, occasionally severe with damaging winds. An isolated tornado not out of the question, but wind is going to be the primary hazard here. And if we look at the hazard that's on the watch, okay, no, that's not correct, but this watch goes until 8 o'clock here this afternoon, or this evening rather. And again, we'll continue to monitor things here as we head through the afternoon. So I tell you, we're going to do kind of a quick reset and look at some things, and we'll come back live if we need to. New severe thunderstorm though, real quick for Lucas and Wood counties. Not tagged tornado possible. This will go until 3 o'clock for winds up to 60 miles per hour. So real quick, Toledo, Bowling Green, Pemberville, Lucky, all of you guys are in the path of this. Also Custer, North Baltimore, Swanton, Sylvania, you guys are on the path of this. It's for the squall line, kind of take the box off. It's going to be for this line right back here. Okay, winds up to 60 miles per hour are possible. That's kind of our standard baseline severe thunderstorm warning. Anything over 58, we see a warning. So this includes I-475, the Ohio Turnpike, US 20, US 6, as well as you're kind of working from Napoleon here over to Bowling Green. So we'll kind of keep that in mind, and also I-75 as well. So for right now, folks, again, right now, we're just going to kind of wrap up for the time being, kind of take a quick break, and we'll come back live if necessary. So for forecaster John Tinney, I'm forecaster Nick Dunn. We'll catch you back here in just a little while with some additional severe weather updates. Thanks for watching.